Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart, the path to stop framing and see the true essence. 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, 1. The nature and danger of framing. Framing refers to the act of confining others or situations within a specific mold, judging them through prejudice. This distorts the truth, prevents us from seeing the essence, and destroys relationships. The Bible repeatedly warns against the dangers of framing and emphasizes the importance of seeing the essence through God's perspective. In 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, God says to Samuel, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him." The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. This verse highlights the human tendency to judge based on external conditions or superficial appearances, revealing the fundamental problem of framing. Framing is not merely a personal misunderstanding, it can lead to significant sins that harm both community and faith. In Daniel 6 verse 7, Daniel's adversaries devise a decree forbidding anyone from praying to any god or human besides the king for 30 days, a law specifically designed to target Daniel. This was a deliberate frame to distort his faith and loyalty, aiming to cast him into the lion's den. This incident demonstrates that framing is not just prejudice but can be wielded as a malicious tool to destroy others. Daniel, aware of this frame, did not succumb to fear and continued to pray to God, holding fast to the essence of his faith. This teaches us that adhering to truth and essence, rather than yielding to framing, aligns with God's will. 2. The wisdom of seeing the essence, emulating God's perspective. The first step to seeing the essence is to emulate God's perspective. In 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, God declares that he looks at the heart, not the outward appearance. This is vividly illustrated in the selection of David as king. Samuel, upon seeing Eliab, Jesse's eldest son, thought his appearance and stature made him fit for kingship. However, God saw Eliab's heart and did not choose him. Instead, God looked at David, who appeared insignificant outwardly, and saw the essence of his faith and obedience, appointing him as king of Israel. This event teaches us that when judging people or situations, we must strive to look beyond external criteria or preconceptions to see the inner essence. The Bible teaches that wisdom is the power to see the essence. In 1 Samuel 25 verses 30 to 33, David initially resolves to take revenge on Nabal for his wicked actions but ultimately seeks God's wisdom, recognizes the essence of the situation, and refrains from vengeance. Wisdom is the ability to discern the core of a matter, a gift granted through the fear of the Lord. While the foolish remain fixated on superficialities, the wise grasp the essence. Therefore, to stop framing, we must seek God's wisdom and adopt an attitude of looking beyond appearances and prejudices to the truth within. 3. The first step to stop framing, letting go of prejudice. One practical way to stop framing is to let go of prejudice. In Acts 10 verses 34 to 35, Peter declares, "I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism but accepts from every nation the one who fears him and does what is right. God does not judge based on nationality, race, skin color, or culture but looks at the heart." This reminds us that when we encounter others, we must focus on the person themselves, not the group they belong to or their external conditions. To abandon prejudice, it is crucial to pray and seek God's help. In Psalm 139 verses 23 to 24, David prays, "Search me, God, and know my heart, test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." By sincerely praying to be freed from prejudice and to see the essence, God will transform our hearts. Additionally, by striving to understand others' perspectives and backgrounds, we can set aside the tendency to confine them within specific frames. 4. The second method of seeing the essence, standing in others' shoes through empathy. To stop framing and see the essence, cultivating empathy is essential. Empathy means standing in someone else's shoes, seeing the world through their eyes, and feeling as they feel. In the Bible, the ultimate example of empathy is the incarnation of Jesus Christ. Though he was God, Jesus became human, experiencing our joys, pains, and even death. In Romans 12 verse 15, Paul exhorts, "Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn." This is not mere sympathy or consolation but a call to practice empathy by truly sharing in others' experiences. Empathy is a powerful tool to break framing. We often frame others because we fail to understand their inner struggles and pains. However, by standing in their place and feeling their joys and sorrows as Jesus did, we can move beyond prejudice and stereotypes to see the essence. Empathy is not about consumption or cheap pity, it is about being with, like, and in the position of the other. Such empathy creates small moments of connection, which accumulate to build communal solidarity. 5. Daniel's courage, holding to the essence without succumbing to framing. In Daniel 6 verse 10, despite being targeted by a malicious frame, Daniel continued to pray to God, preserving the essence of his faith. His adversary's decree was a frame designed to cast him into the lion's den, yet he did not fear and went upstairs to his room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. This demonstrates the courage to adhere to God's truth and essence rather than succumbing to framing. Daniel's attitude offers a profound lesson. The world often seeks to confine us within specific frames, distorting truth and instilling fear. However, like Daniel, when we hold fast to God's essence and obey His will, we can break free from frames and see the truth. This is not merely a matter of personal faith but a path to uphold truth and justice within the community. To stop framing, we must muster the courage, as Daniel did, to overcome prejudice and fear with resolute determination. 6. The third method of seeing the essence, the wisdom of knowing God. The Bible teaches that wisdom is the power to see the essence. In James 1 verses 5 to 8, James advises those lacking wisdom to ask God for it. Biblical wisdom is knowing God and understanding the purpose for which He created us. When a person grasps their existential identity, they learn to live and act in accordance with it. This is the fundamental way to stop framing and see the essence. The wisdom of knowing God enables us to see others and the world through His eyes. In 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, God declares that He looks at the heart. This teaches us that when judging people or situations, we must adopt an attitude of looking beyond external frames to the inner essence. By seeking the wisdom of knowing God, we can transcend prejudice and stereotypes, drawing closer to the truth. 7. Modern application. Living a life free from framing. In modern society, people are often judged by appearance, status, and success, and framing is prevalent through social media and popular culture. We frequently fail to see others' inner selves, judging them solely by outward appearances, and choose criticism and disconnection over empathy. However, the teachings of the Bible offer profound lessons for today. As in 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, we must strive to look at the heart, not the outward appearance. Moreover, as Romans 12 verse 15 instructs, we should rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn, living a life of empathy. Empathy is a powerful tool to break framing, and by seeing the world from others' perspectives, we can approach the essence. Like Daniel, by not succumbing to worldly frames and following God's truth, we can overcome prejudice and distortion to see the true essence. 8. Conclusion. Seeing the essence through God's perspective. The path to stopping framing and seeing the essence begins with emulating God's perspective. In 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, God says, "I look at the heart." This teaches us to judge others not by external criteria or prejudice but by their inner essence. By letting go of prejudice, standing in others' shoes through empathy, and seeking the wisdom of knowing God, we can break free from frames and approach the truth. Like Daniel, by not yielding to worldly frames and obeying God's will with courage, we can preserve the essence. As Romans 12 verse 15 advises, by sharing in others' joys and sorrows through empathy and following the example of Jesus' incarnation, we can live a life of true love and understanding. Through this essay, I hope we all may look at the world through God's perspective, stop framing, and live a life of seeing the true essence.